Mechanical Moods is a experimental sentiment analysis engine which takes text-based data, specifically forum or short discussion data, and attempts to classify it but in terms of sentiment of the user. One of the things that makes Mechanical Moods different than many other sentiment analysis engines is that rather than just positive, negative, and neutral, Mechanical Moods is multidimensional, uses six different classifications. They're signified by the little icons on the top here. There's a joke, there's positive, there's insightful, neutral, negative, and angry. And part of the reason we experimented with going further than just the positive, negative, neutral is that we find that when you're training the data or using using students to train the data, that it is much easier for them to classify something as a joke or something as anger or insightful rather than just positive, negative, and neutral. We may expand that into other classifications. At the moment, we're just testing with these six basic ones to see how they improve accuracy over just the normal 3 dimensions that are used in most engines. So I'll go ahead and do a search here. This is just searching off of a stream of data. Right now it's taking essentially a Twitter stream, but it doesn't matter. This could be any sort of stream off of forums or any sort of database records like a Moodle or an online learning environment. And I can add dates in. I could subdivide as well by certain courses or other features that may be set into the specific online learning environment. And it comes up with it crunches the data, it comes up with a few things. It shows me a graph over time. Now what we've done is we've segmented positive, negative, neutral in the results just because it's an easy way to display the results as opposed to the 6 that we use for the classification. This is just us finding a way to sort of combine the data into 3 classifications just for the purpose of making it a little bit more useful. If you had 6 bar graphs going all over the place, it's hard enough to see 3, so you can imagine. And then we've got a pie graph, which sort of has, again, the positive, negative, and neutral. Now, obviously, we've rolled up. So joke will often be into positive, insightful will be into neutral, and anger will be into negative. So we roll those together. Another feature that we look at as sentiment analysis is the degree of change. One of the best reasons to use sentiment analysis is not only to try and automate and to sort of automatically determine the sentiment of the student, but also to discover where areas of the discussion are changing. So you might find that all of a sudden there's a big jump in the amount of jokes or the amount of sort of angry content or that sort of thing. Even sort of insightful or positive changes are an indicator that you'd want to have a look and see what's going on there. And as it's used over and over again for the same course, it develops what should be the natural state of those courses. So these indicators, this is just one example. It's just a positive indicator it's gone down 19. But you can have various indicators that work together to determine the where you should be looking and zero in on areas of interest. And then this is automatically pulling up. This is the text display that's pulling up and assigning one of these 6 icons to the piece of text that it's looking at. So it's reading through, it's determining what's the best classification, and it's applying that. Now, if I want to train that, if I don't think that, see here, it's reading Read the free software supporter news from our community. September's issue is released. Well, issue, it's seeing that as negative, but really that's not negative. That's more of a neutral thing. It's even a bit of news, but I would tend to keep that sort of a neutral. So you just click on it, and that'll correct it in the database. So it now when that comes up, it knows that issue doesn't always mean that it's bad. It should be looking for something else based on the language that's in that text. And so we go down and it scrolls, and it can handle quite a lot of data. It crunches this very, very quickly. If I want to run the search again, I can show you. It goes through. And it retains its stuff. It's an online database, so it goes through. And if we look again, we're going to see that the issue, where is it? Right here, is now neutral. So it knows that. If I wanted to make that angry again, it would overwrite whatever was in this data entry and recalculate for that. So that's how it works. On the back end, you can look at the data store. It holds all of the data, so the system continuously learns over and over. And here you'll see where it's got the queries. I just queried my name as a student name, and then it's got the different sentiments that are attached to the different posts as it goes. And so it just continues on. And to give you an idea of how the math works in the background, typically you can fine-tune this with an ontology that will be knowledgeable about the course that's specifically being looked at, so that it has some idea of the language that's going to be used to help fine-tune the sentiment. But for this, you can even just say something like today is Tuesday. Now this will feed right into the engine, and it comes back saying, well, that's 99%. And so I don't know how insightful that is, but no, you are just like my cat. And it's got a few different things here. I don't know that calling someone a cat is angry. It needs some adjustment there. But if you see the way that this is working, this is a local version. It's not attached to the online one, so it's not quite got the benefit of all the old data. But the way it works is that it's assigning a probability to, there's in this case it's a 99% probability there's a joke. It's a 99% probability that it's angry, so it'll fall into one of those two icons. But there's also a possibility this is neutral, and it might have a possibility that it's insightful, and so on. And as it gets smarter, it will actually let you take a look at the different mixes of probabilities for the channel, so that you can see over time if all of a sudden this neutral starts to rise over top, or the angry starts to rise over all of the tweets. It can send up a red flag saying, wait a minute, we need to, an instructor needs to look at this data and see who's talking about it, who's unhappy, and what's going on. This could be really beneficial if you've got sort of a MOOC or a class with maybe hundreds of students going through. So there you have it, and that's our sentiment analysis.